My name's Guy Kesterman. Been a professional bike tester for over 25 years. And one of the things that still means I bloody love it are daft bikes like the Salsa Stormchaser. But after nearly 2 years of a huge amount of single speed gravel fun, it's time for it to go back. So let's recap what's great, what's stupid about it, and why sometimes those two things are actually the same. And of course, big advantage of having that vast tyre space. I mean, I've got 50s in, and there's huge amounts of room around them. Means you can run tyre pressures really low and have a proper limousine smooth ride, because although the rear stays are pretty small, it's not the smoothest of frames naturally. But it also means you never have to worry about the weather either, so tons of mud clearance, even if you're running like a 2.2, 2.1 mountain bike tyre, although you do have to factor that into the relative effect on the gear. Obviously, the bigger wheel effectively makes the gear bigger. So these 50 tyres feel noticeably taller in terms of what I'm trying to crank around following Joff here. But there is a real purity to just having that one gear and that straight chain line. So while you're often a stranger to your saddle for a lot of the ride, which is why I've got a largely decorative 30-year-old, oh hello, balls that up, 30-year-old Brooks on there. You do have to be prepared to stand up a lot, especially on an extended road climb like this. But always much quicker than you in space. Just a little bit more labour intensive. And if you've ever ridden a single speed, you'll know it teaches you a hell of a lot about momentum and trying to keep speed up, particularly on technical climbs, because if you lose that speed, like clonking a pedal or something like that, just bought, then it's really hard to get back on top of the gear. And then situations like this can become something of a strain. But if you were thinking of doing some weights this winter, maybe some deadlifts, straining your back and your glutes a bit, then riding a single speed is a very effective alternative. Come on, Salsa, we can do this. Yes, got it, gate. The only thing you do have to be wary of is it's quite an antisocial existence, because other people have the luxury of a lower gear, so you tend to hoof up of climbs on your own. And the other distinctive thing about, well, there's many distinctive things about this Stormchaser, you know, the fact it is single speed, I mean, you do get a geared hanger with it, so you can run gears perfectly fine, but it comes with those superbly designed sliding dropouts for standard, which incidentally, in a very rare for single speed way, have not given me an ounce of trouble or slippage. I've adjusted them a couple of times for chain wear, stroke stretch, but what I was going to say is It's got really relaxed handling. Positively, cheers Paul, dough style. In terms of stability, oh, on the Pacos bridge, there we go. So, feels really settled and steady at speed on loose or lumpy stuff, but can take a bit of manoeuvring on kind of tighter, twitchier trails. Come on, Evo. There we go. Once you get it rolling, it's not so bad. Just getting it over the top of the gear that needs some straining occasionally. Not a good choice if you've got a bad back. And then, of course, there are moments where you're just spinning like a total idiot to try and keep up or keep ahead on faster or road descents. And another thing I found with single speeds is it's surprising how much brain power you must normally use picking gears, because if you haven't got to, then you can focus entirely on the trail. So because you need to keep the momentum up, keep things smooth as much as possible, I tend to find I get a lot more creative, but also a lot more clever with, cheers mate, how I approach the trail. And it's just a very different way to ride, considering all you're doing is throwing away your gears. Cheers, mister. Right. And sometimes it's just good to go out and remind yourself what it was like when there wasn't just a silly low gear option to twiddle up every hill. I mean, the ratios you can put on a gravel bike now or a mountain bike are ridiculous. It's good to remember what a struggle it used to be sometimes. And of course, it's not just gears you don't have to worry about choosing. You don't have to worry about maintenance on your cables. You don't have to worry about charging batteries, or even, I mean, I've pretty much, in fact, I don't think I've cleaned it at all since I've had it. And I built it up, pretty sure it was over 18 months ago. I'll have to check that, but yeah, apart from your knees when you decide to film on a hill one-handed, it's all just lovely. These Maxxis Ramblers might look fairly quick, but they really aren't. Paul's just completely left me standing, just rolled past me like that, a care in the world. On a set of fat mountain bike tyres. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, probably that's an advantage. They go on 25. And this is where that big tyre volume and that stable steering really come in, because it's really not far off a rigid mountain bike in many ways, especially as I've got a reasonably wide cow chipper salsa bars on here and a good sturdy set DT Swiss GR gravel wheels. Oh hello! Ha! Full stuff mountain bike coming in, showing off. Right, we'll see about that. I guess he's got to show off somewhere. Let's see how close we can keep that blur. I need to get a pedal in, but I haven't got any gear left, I don't think. Hopefully get him now though. And again, that's what I do find. Riding with a single speed just kind of naturally antagonises people, or at least always makes them competitive, because they're always way faster than you think they should be. Boom!
Oh, excellent.
Oh, leave me hanging there, Paul. At the end of the day, it's just something a bit different, but it changes up your regular riding. Oh, well, right, what are we going here? Oh, cyclocross style sand, I think. Don't know. Quick climb? God knows, maybe the tyres are going to melt now. Oh, you bugger! Got that on camera. I'll be reporting you to Road CC. And it really does. Getting echoed now. And they are a great fitness tool. And it's a bit sad that I'm sending it back now, because obviously winter is when all that massive tyre clearance and those reinforced rub patches inside the forks and the stays, and just running a simple single speed, make the most sense. But cannot complain. You've got to thank Lyon Cycle Salsa distributors for letting me hang on to it as long as I have, because every time I've ridden it, it's just been an absolute blast. And I've done well actually this ride. I think I've only gone for gear levers by accident twice. So normally at least first few minutes keep trying to change up or down. But I've just dropped into it this time. Happy days. Oh, I know why Paul's bought us this way though. This is almost certainly the end of me. Come on, get it through the damp patch. At least it's not soggy. Oh, we're spinning, sliding. Come on, squeeze it through. Come on. I think it's all these acorns in the mud giving me grip on those ramblers. Come on. Oh. I think I'm going to finish this ride about 3 inches shorter than when I started, just from spine compression. Whew. Nice one, Stormchaser. Whew. And if you're wondering about the numbers, it's running 34 on the front. It's actually an old XX1 power crank I had lying about, and then I think it's a 16 at the back, or maybe an 18, I can't remember. I've changed it around. I've got 2 sprockets, and it's a Halo single speed kit from Ison, so it just fits onto a standard Shimano hub with spacers. It's a really neat conversion, super cheap. So if you're thinking of, and obviously you don't need to have a dedicated single speed bike to give single speed in a bash. If you're very lucky, it might fit without a chain tensioner, just running a single speed cog. And if not, you can get like a sort of little mini derailleur, or even leave your old derailleur on and give it a go. Just use that to check up the chain slack. Obviously this is fully purpose built for single speed, and as you can see with that sliding drop out there, which has the brake built into it, but you know, still got holes for conventional gear cables if you want them as well. Sorry, Joff just pointed out I've just had to bolt my cranks back on after straining them up that hill, so yeah, my little old XX1s got a bit wonky there, so just had to crank them back on. So that is one thing. Don't expect your single speed to be totally maintenance free. In fact, quite often the opposite, to be fair.
And oh, and fit, sturdy gear as well, because there's a lot of strain going through the bloody things. And you. Isn't that right, love?
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And he's an artisan. And Joff's a postman, so we got, you know, we've got everything covered here.
And it's not just gear and dropper post mounts. You've got everything cage mounts on the forks, several bottle cage mounts on a down tube, seat tube, under the belly, and then actually, have you got? I'm not sure you have got rack mounts at the rear. No, you haven't, because it's so widely spaced. But yeah, everything for conventional bike packing. So, you know, it is a properly versatile machine as well. I'm going to stop and do a proper talk round so you can see the details. Plus, I'm knackered. Yeah, I mean, obviously you can cruise if you want on a single speed, but I don't think I've ever managed it. I always just enjoy thrashing them too much. So, going to just go through the details quickly so you know what we're talking about. I mean, there is a full, right when I started building this, there's a full frame talk through on that. But if you can't be bothered to riff back to that, I'll do a quick one now. And we'll go through the build as well. So, like I say, everything mounts on the forks. You've got masses of mud clearance. You've got stainless steel guards there for tyre rub. Brake hose goes down there. You've got a dynamo inset as well. No mud guard mounts because, you know, it's designed for a proper filthy mud and mud guards are just going to get clogged. Internal route in there. It's lovely big bronzy golden shaped tubes. That's a little bit pointy if you get your shoulder on it. So, you know, there's a little bit of a penalty to pay if you can't get the gear round. But these big box section down tube means it's a very, very powerful bike to, you know, it gives you a load of help propulsion. And you've got this heavily shaped seat stay there. I mean, like you see, it flattens out, and then you've got the internal gear routing if you do run gears on it. And you've got these lovely skinny bowed out, completely stayless seat stays there. Bridgeless seat stays there that are designed to give quite a lot of flex at the back end. Though, like I say, it's quite a firm bike. It's not a super smooth ride unless you put proper fat tyres in it, like these Rambler 50 mils I've got in there. There's my little gusset one by kit on these DT wheels. You can see there you've got the sliding dropouts with that. Oh, sorry, I was wrong. You have got a rear rack mount there, and I remember now what you do is you just change out the collar on the seat post there. But these Salsa collars, these have been must-have. You know, these have been proper bits of bike jewellery since the early 90s. I mean, really, really old brand is Salsa. Started by Ross Schaefer right back in the early days of mountain biking. So there's some real heritage in this bike. And then it kind of became the own brand of QBP, massive American distributor. But they've always just carried on making really distinctive, charismatic bikes. A huge range of alternative bikes. Go and look at the catalogue. Go on the website online, you know. Loads of different things on there, from fat bikes to all sorts of different gravel bikes, snow bikes, fat tandems, all sorts. But anyway, I'm sorry, I'm rattling on. Yeah, but go look at it. Got this beautiful Salsa titanium seat post on there. My old Brooks saddle, which I think I got in 1996. So that's in some action, but obviously, you know, nice bit of brass to offset the frame. Tie rails as well on that. It's an old Brooks Swift, so proper classy. I think it was about the first thing I bought trade when I started working in a bike warehouse. And then Salsa stem, Salsa cow chipper bars, and if you're wondering why the hoods are different, it's because the brakes are actually different as well. TRP, Hylex, hydraulic, single speed brakes, obviously no shifter on there. You can rig them up so they run a Di2 electric shifter, but they're about your only option if you want a single speed drop bar disc brake. And as you can see, silver caliper on the front one and silver on the back, and it's a flat mount as well, so I had to do a bit of jiggery pokery on the fork. I think I ended up going to the DIY shop, but I got some proper bolts eventually. What else? Oh, there's your gear and dropper post cables if you need them, another bottle or accessory mount there, and then that top tube mount there is where I normally put my little 76 projects bag, but I couldn't find it prior to filming, so I will do a proper run through on that. And then finally out the back, got my PNW saddle pack there, satellite saddle pack there. So that's the bike. Oh, and the other thing, yeah, like I say, SRAM XX1 Quark, old school GXP power crank in there, and because the hoods were different, it's actually got different tape on as well. I've used it. I mean, it's been a really great trail bike, test bike for all sorts of kit over the past couple of years. If you've clocked into Bike Perfect regularly, you'll have seen this bike wearing all sorts of different kit, but I just ended up on kind of just sturdy stuff. It's actually pretty heavy. It's knocking on 9.5 kilos, but it's just the kind of bike you want to plough through anything, so seems to kind of suit it. And as you saw today, the only lightweight bit in it, those carbon cranks, are the one bit that fell off. But anyway, like I say, massive thanks to Lyon Cycle and Salsa for letting me have the bike on a long-term loan. It's been an absolute blast. I know I say that about a lot of bikes, but this is something properly different, properly enjoyable, and also drop dead gorgeous. I've had more compliments about this bike aesthetically than far fancier, far more expensive carbon machines that, you know. This is the one that really grabs people's attention, and yeah, it's just really refreshing and different to ride when there are so many generic cookie cutter bikes about. So yeah, thanks to Salsa, massive thanks to Zero Cycling for supporting the channel, and PTs and Crud XL fenders as well. I have been using actually a Crud XL fender, mountain bike fender, on the front of this, and it works really well on those fat fork legs. Massive thanks to my Patreon supporters who pledge to support the channel every month, and they get early, extended and ad-free cuts as a thank you. So if you really like what I'm doing with the channel, please consider supporting me on Patreon. But click for subscriptions if you haven't already subscribed, click for notifications, give this a thumbs up, and tell your mates there's an old idiot talking about bikes on YouTube, and hopefully they'll come and join the parade as well. But for now, I've been Guy Kestevan on Guy Case TV, talking about the Salsa Stormchaser winter-specific single-speed gravel bike. And that chap's lost his pointers. Really not bothered. I think isn't this the kind of thing that goes viral when they're chasing him across a park? I better go before I get in trouble.